Hi Lynn, how Katie? You all right?
Hiya. Yeah, fine, thanks.
Hi.
Can you both hear me, see me okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
fab.
Got you.
So this is only a 30-minute session, so we're not going to have any breaks. We're just going to run straight through. If there is a technical difficulty and you can't hear me or the sound goes, if you can just raise your hand, just so I'm aware that there's an issue, and we'll try and sort it from there. This is the first time I've actually used Zoom for doing the training, so hopefully there'll be no technical issues, but if you could just bear with me. Because we all know each other and we've worked together for quite a few years, it's going to be quite informal. There's going to be no introduction, no horrible icebreaker, I'm sure you'll be pleased to know. However, I am going to ask you to tell me what you want to gain from the session, why you're here, and the experience you've had in interviewing in a few minutes. Then we'll go into the main body of the training, and along the way I am going to ask if anybody's got any questions. However, because it's such a small group, if you've got any questions as we go along, feel free to just ask. Then at the end I will be asking you some questions, so to make sure that we meet all the objectives, and then the slides that I'm using today and my notes will be emailed to you, so you do have them for future reference. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yep. Sounds good.
fine.
Yeah. Have you got any questions so far?
No.
No?
No.
Fab. That's brilliant. So if we can start by asking you what it is that you're wanting to get from this session, why you're here, and what experience you have in interviewing. Who would like to go first?
I will. I'll go first. Oh no, go on then, Lynn. You go.
Are you
Go on,
sure?
Lynn, you go first.
Okay then. Well, my company's going through a restructure, and I need to do some more interviewing. I've not done any for a lot of years, and the interviewing I did a few years ago was very brief, so I've not had a lot of experience at all. But what I do remember is that when you're interviewing, you've got a whole list of questions, and it sort of came across like an interrogation. I felt as if it was 20 questions, and even though I was asking lots of questions, I didn't seem to get a lot of information. So just anything to help me with those questioning techniques to get the information that we need.
Yeah, I can understand that, and I think I know why that may have happened. We'll go into that a little bit later as we start the main body. But that's interesting you say that. Thank you. Katie?
So yeah, I'm the same. So there's a restructure within the company, and my role now involves interviewing. I've got absolutely no experience of interviewing whatsoever. I've been interviewed, obviously, had some good, some bad experiences, but I've never done it myself. So I'm wanting all the information that you can give me, basically, tips, hints, different types of questions.
Okay,
So,
yeah, that's not a problem at all. Hopefully you'll find this this useful. Before we go into the main body, can either of you think of an example of an interview that you have been in, that you were the candidate, and are you able to think of something that stands out that's either good or bad from that experience?
Do you want to go first, Katie?
Yeah, okay. So I've got a bad experience that I think sticks out in my mind. So I went in and we'd started chatting, and she started to ask me all the questions. And as I was answering them, she was interrupting. So there was an example where she'd had a similar experience as to what I was trying to describe, and she literally cut me off and was giving me her experience. So not very professional, not very relevant, and she just wouldn't let me finish any of my answers. It was terrible.
That does sound bad. And how did it make you feel?
Just really frustrated, because I'd spent a lot of time doing a lot of preparation, and I wanted to get across my skills and experience, and she just wasn't giving me the opportunity.
Yeah, that does sound like a bad experience. Thanks for that. Lynn, do you have an experience?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about a good experience because I think interviews are really, really scary.
Yeah.
And you're feeling really nervous. But the interview I'm thinking about in particular, they just put me right at ease right from the word go. They made me feel really relaxed. And because I felt relaxed, I felt that I could really open up and talk about myself. So I felt when I came out of the interview, I felt as if they really knew me. And if I didn't get the job, then it's because I wasn't right for it and not because I've not given the best that I could at the interview. So
That's really good. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that interview.
That
That sounds
good
different
to
to
hear.
mine.
Yeah.
So,
Complete opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're hoping to be able to go for Lynn's experience rather than Katie's. And as much as the interview questions are important, listening is equally important because you're trying to get the best candidate. So with that in mind, do we have any questions at the moment?
no.
No.
Right, I'm going to, we're going to go to the main body of the session and I'm going to just attempt to share my screen with you. So bear with me 1 second. There we go. Are we both still there yet?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, I can see that.
and can you see and still hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right, so yeah, interview questioning. The objective of today is to be able to list the 3 main types. There's many different types of questioning. However, there's just 3 that we're going to focus on today, and to be able to explain what each one of them are. And once you know that, you'll be able to make an informed decision on the types of questioning that's right for the situation that you're in. So, first of all, if we go to the beginning, what are interviews for? We all go to them, we hope to get the job at the end of it, but what's the interview for?
Are you wanting us to answer that?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, if you've got the answer yet.
Well, it's to find out as much as you can about the interviewee to see whether or not they're the right person for the job.
Yeah, it is. And the right person, you want the best candidate, don't you?
Yeah.
And the fairest way to do that is to talk to them, ask them questions. However, you've got to bear in mind that not the best candidate might not be the best interviewee. Somebody might get stressed under pressure. Somebody might not be very good at talking about themselves. So along the way, you've got to make it fair and give them the best opportunity to give themselves to you, to sell themselves to you. And you can do that by different types of questions. Sorry, wrong way. So there are 8 different types of questioning. I'm not going to read them all out to you. However, we are actually just going to focus on the first 4. The first 3 are the types of questioning that we are going to look into, and the 4th one, leading, is one that you need to really avoid in interviews. So we've got closed, open, probing. They're the 3 main ones that we're going to look at today. So a closed question. Does anybody know what a closed question is? No.
It's a question where it's just it's a certain answer. It's like a yes or no answer.
That's right, it is. So closed questions generally invite 1-word answers. So the example I've got here is, what is your name? Well, Amanda. There's no other information needed from that. They can't try and extract more information. That's a closed question. Sometimes, and I think, Lynn, this is what happened within your when you were interviewing. If you asked a lot of closed questions, the candidate might only answer by 1-word answers, which means you're not getting much information, but you're having to ask a lot. You feel as if you've got to work for just a small amount of information. So closed questions do have the purpose for if a role needed a driver's license, do you drive? Yes or no. You don't need to know any more than that. But a lot of interview questions are going to need more information than just that. And this is where we go on to our open questions. These are open-ended questions, require a little more thought and generally encourage a wider discussion or elaboration. So the example I've got here, tell me what skills you have for this role. You can't just answer one word from here. This is getting more information out of the candidate. Unlike the what is your name? Can you think of any other examples of open questions? Doesn't have to be to do with interviewing.
What about something like, how would you describe yourself?
Absolutely, because that's more than one word. So tell me what skills you have for this role. They might say, I have HR training. So that's more than one word, only just, but more, but it's still not quite enough. So to get more information, you need to go into the probing questions. And the definition for the probing question, these questions are useful for gaining clarification and encouraging others to tell you more information about a subject. Please, can you elaborate on the HR training that you have undertaken? So that leads on from the open question that you asked before. So there's not an actual science to this. This is why you also have to listen to the answers that are in the candidate is giving, because that will actually tell you if you need to ask a few more probing questions before you go on to the next question that you've got on your interview sheet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
So we've got a list of 6 or however many interview questions it is. Is it okay for us to slot additional ones in to get more information, like you said there?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You need to, if you want to get more information from the candidate, because you need to give them the best chance that they've got. Yes, absolutely. An interview is a bit like a conversation. So you've got structure, you want answers to certain questions, but within the process, you might end up asking more questions and having a chat with them to find out more information.
Okay.
So they're the 3 questions that you need to do in the interview, but you need to avoid leading questions. So a leading question is, sorry, just bear with me. These questions are designed to lead the respondent towards certain desired positive or negative route. So for an example, with all this experience, you must be a people person. Can you think of a reason why this isn't good in an interview?
Well, it seems as if you're almost putting the words into the candidate's mouth to say that, yes, they are good at dealing with people.
Yeah, absolutely. So this could be, it means that you might not get the best candidate because it might not be totally true because you've put words into your mouth, exactly. But 2, it's also unethical because it seems as if you've got some bias towards them. So you need to be careful that the probing questions are probing for more information but not leading.
I suppose somebody wanted to give somebody a job could just ask loads of leading questions and then they'd be given the wrong answers, wouldn't they, without actually.
Absolutely, especially if there's a panel there. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you've got to really be careful just to not use the leading questions at all. So, which questioning to choose? As I said, it's not a science, you've just got to listen. So I have to keep moving here because it keeps getting in the way of my screen. So, choosing the questions. These are 2 questions. They're exactly the same questions, just worded in a different way. Do you have any experience with managing company mergers? Tell me about your experience with company mergers. Which would be the better question to ask in that instance?
The first one.
Do you have an experience with managing company mergers?
Yeah, because you're asking them a question rather than with the second one, you're almost saying that, yes, you have got some experience, tell me about it. Whereas the first one is asking if they've got any experience.
I suppose, yeah, this could be misleading. You've got the CV in front of them, so you know that they've got experience with company mergers. What the slide's trying to get, get across is that the second one will give you more information about them. They could just say yes or no to the first question.
I think with the first one, if you ask the first one, you would, and you got a yes answer, then you would start asking some probing questions. Whereas if you ask the second one, it would give them the chance to open up without that additional questioning, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it wouldn't be wrong if you ask the first one first. You just might have to ask an additional question. But yeah, to get more information out of them, the second one would be more efficient. So this question has been asked to the same person, to one person, but they have given two different answers. There's two scenarios. So the first one, tell me about your previous experience. The candidate answered, I have 10 years experience working as a HR advisor for a global company. I have completed my CIPD level 3 and currently working towards my level 5. I have also undertaken courses in interview skills, contract writing, managing conflict and performance and reward. I have experience of dealing with company mergers, managing resource and talent planning, and is a champion in employee relations. Scenario 2, the same person answered, I have 10 years experience as a HR advisor. I am qualified, CIPD qualified, and I have undertaken many HR training courses. What would you need to do if they answered scenario 2?
Ask them some more questions, ask them to expand on what they've already said.
Yeah, exactly. And what's that called? What are those questions called?
Probing questions.
Probing questions. Well done. So this is where the questions now come to you. Can you just recap on what a closed question is?
Something that just gives a one-word answer.
That's right. And can either of you give me an example?
How many years experience have you got in HR?
Perfect. And what's the definition of an open question?
That's where you would ask for information, where they would expand and give you more information about what they've done.
An open-ended question. Have you got an example for that?
Something like what motivates you.
Yeah, more than a one-word answer with some depth. A probing question. Are you able to explain what a probing question is?
It's where you want some more information, so you don't feel that the candidate's given you enough information to really understand how much experience they've got in a certain situation. So you start probing to ask more questions.
Yeah, that's right. And lastly, what's a leading question?
It's where you're almost putting the words in somebody's mouth. So if I said that I've been working in a job that involved planning, and somebody said to me, so I'm guessing that you're good at planning then. You're good at planning and organising.
Yeah.
For all they know, I might be getting the sack tomorrow.
They might be. Absolutely. Absolutely. And are you able to tell me why you wouldn't use it in an interview?
You're almost giving them an unfair advantage, aren't you?
You are, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It is unethical. Absolutely. Do we have any questions?
No.
Is there anything that we need to go over, clarify?
No, not for me.
I'm just guessing that, going on what you said earlier then, that my bad experience was as a result of having lots of questions fired at me and me not having chance to really explain or talk.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of closed questions
Yeah.
that one word answers were given, which meant that more closed questions were having to give, and that's why it will have felt like an interrogation. So if more open questions were given, that would have given you a chance to explain more and give things in more detail, and it wouldn't have felt as an interrogation as much.
So what about mine then? Was she just a bad interviewer?
Yes, I think that some people try to make people feel at ease, and they think that talking is the best way round it, and to some extent that would work, but you do need to listen to the candidate. You do need to listen to the answers, otherwise what's the point in having the interview? And as it turns out, she didn't make you feel at ease at all. She actually made you feel more frustrated and that you couldn't get your skills across. So I imagine you walked out feeling as if it was all a bit of a waste of time and there were no point being there. So I do think it was yeah, just some bad interviewing, unfortunately. How do you think you're going to do you think you're going to be okay sort of transferring things that you've learned today actually into real life?
Yeah, I think think about it a little bit, maybe do some prep before the interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we'll be able to get a copy of the slides so that we've got the resources as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to email them all to you, plus my notes as well, so that the slides make sense on their own. And then, yeah, obviously you can contact your HR department for any more information. If you get stuck, if you need some role playing doing, it's something that we can offer as well. So just so that you feel confident within when you're interviewing. The last thing we want is for you to feel nervous walking into an interview when you're hoping to make somebody else feel more comfortable.
And can you check through some questions? So for my interviews that I'm going to be having in a few weeks' time, will you be able to check through the questions and just make sure that they're okay?
Yeah, of course I can. Of course I can. Just send them over to me, and I'll give you some guidance with anything like that. That's not a problem.
Great, thank you.
When will you both be first interviewing? Do you know yet?
So I've got some set up in 2 weeks' time. So
2
not
weeks,
very
right?
long practice.
Okay.
I'm not going to be doing any for about a month yet, so I've got plenty of time to
A bit longer. Yeah.
get myself ready.
That's fine. Do give me a shout though if you need any sort of more support or just anything that you're unsure of. Let me know.
Okay.
Have we got any more questions?
No.
Right, that's lovely. I think we'll end the session then if that's everything.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yep,
Thanks very much.
It's been really useful.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.